Hey everyone, welcome back to another Krita tutorial. Today we're going to continue our series on the GMIC tool and go over the next two options, which is black and white and color. So we're going to go to filter and start GMIC, and we're going to go to black and white. So real quick, these colorize options are very intensive. I might make a video that's separate going over just those options because of how much information there is for them and the system and workflow to handle those. So I just need more time to kind of get used to it and make sure that any issues I'm experiencing I can easily remedy so that when you go to use them, they are not, you're gonna have an easier time basically. So we're gonna start with black and white. We're gonna do the black and white stencil. You can see, yes, it looks very blocked out. So for this, you could use this for silhouettes if you want to check a silhouette of your image. You don't have to like confirm you want to apply it to your image, of course. But if you want to check the silhouettes of something, you could use this. You have black and white, which just makes the whole thing black and white. Let me refresh this here because I was playing with stuff. You can change basically how the colors are going to look with this. Now, I do believe your color profile does affect things with the gamma, because when I started playing with this, oh, maybe it's not going to affect it now. I did have an error that was thrown at me saying I had too many channels. That could also be maybe the brightness and contrast was messing with it. I'm not entirely sure. But if that happens, just go ahead and put that back down to, I think it was 1 or 0 or something, and you should be fine. You can change midtone shadows and stuff like that. This is a pretty basic black and white setup. You know, I believe Photoshop has something like this, as does Affinity Photo. This is actually really cool. It looks like an old photograph. Just nothing too complex about it. You can go to charcoal. Oh, you saw that error because I messed with something. You can go to charcoal, and that gives like a charcoal effect, so it has a little bit of a texture to it. We're going to kind of zoom in here. It's a little pixelated, but it has a very interesting contrast to it as well. So if we go to the, if I click and drag, I can see the original. You can kind of see where that shadow is going. It looks like it's affecting a lot of the blue parts. Like, this is all the shadow. I don't know, it's kind of neat. I mean, it looks like the shadows applied properly on the fish to me, so I think it did a fantastic job. Colorize, just a quick intro. This is supposed to be a system where it's like the Colorize mask tool, but it's supposed to be much better in terms of how much control you have over it with points, and it will not leave gaps with the line art and all that good stuff. If you want to look over it yourself before I make the intensive video on it, you can go to the link down here, David Revoy's GMIC colorization page. It's extremely detailed, so it is a lot to take in and a lot to read, which is why I'm like, you know, maybe I should just do a separate video on this, because that's not something that I can just say, hey, look at this in like 5 minutes. He does have a video on it as well, so you know, the last time there's an update was 2018. There's just a lot to this, but it looks really interesting and very helpful, especially when you're doing line art and coloring and all that good stuff. And I want to, you know, make a better video of the whole thing, not just here's a 5-second clip of how you can do something. We have desaturate, norm, dithering, which is going to get that dot texture, emboss, so it's going to, wow, that looks really creepy. It's going to create that 3D effect, which same with engrave. It looks like I forgot the painter's name, but that screaming painting, that's what this reminds me of. Freaky black and white. So I didn't know what this meant, but it looks very kind of like an old photo as well. Very interesting. So maybe that's what the freaky is supposed to imply. It just looks weird and spooky. We have ink wash. We have multi-layer etch. That looks pretty cool. I like that. We have pencil, pencil portrait, stamp, which is kind of like stencil, but it looks like it retains more information, and then threshold etch. So you can change how much it's going to affect basically. And that's pretty much it for the black and white. For the colors, we're not going to go over everything because you can see there's a ton of stuff here. Some of these are kind of self-explanatory, like brightness. We can change how bright this is going to look. Pretty self-explanatory. Basic adjustments, if we just want to change the brightness and the saturation and stuff like that, we can do that, which is great. You have auto balance. So a lot of these tools are going to be similar to some of the filters that you have individually that can be applied as layer masks or to individual layers already. The GMIC tool is just kind of providing more to it, because some of these, for example, where was it? I lost it. Oh, basic adjustments. This is something I would personally use a lot of, because a lot of times I'm like, I just need to change the hue just a tiny bit, not 15, we'll go to like 2. You know, maybe it just needs a little bit more yellow or a little bit more orange or something, and maybe I need to desaturate that just a smidge. Those are controls I would used to use a lot of in Photoshop or Affinity Photo, especially for photo editing. You know, just simple adjustments to get a specific result, nothing too crazy, and not having to apply different filters up here. Abstraction is gonna, there we go, make it look abstract. I was worried it was gonna take longer to load than I thought, but that's pretty cool. I like that. So I would use this, I think, as something to pull color from, just for fun. Like, I'm looking for a set of colors maybe that I need to pop more. This would be the perfect way to get those. You have CMYK tone, so this is an RGB image, I believe I colored it in, so I can adjust this in the CMYK. So if I'm like, this is not going to print well, I can go and adjust some of this. Alright, so colorful blobs, it's supposed to be based on Adobe's Playful palette, which I believe is, from what it looked like, you can just make a palette. It's not meant to recolorize anything. So as you can see, I'm moving these blobs around. If I separate them, they're separate colors, but if I put them together, I get some really interesting looks here. So this is pretty neat, very interesting. So you can add and subtract them here, the plus and minus sign. So I just added this pink color here. If I want it gone, I can remove it. If I want to add it, I can add it. And there we go. So I can expand that. Very neat. Oh, that's a lot. Very interesting. I will say though, the link to Adobe's Playful palette doesn't work. That's Adobe's issue, not the GMIC tool. They changed the link or it doesn't exist anymore. I don't know what they did. So we have dark sky. So if you have a photo and you want to enhance the sky, you can. I don't have an actual sky in here, so it's just going to assume that this back in the background is the sky. You have some mixer tools for specific color profiles. As always, I'm not a professional with color profiles, so if you, I imagine these are mostly for for photography. So if you need these specific color profiles, you can go ahead and start adjusting your image to meet those not expectations, but those requirements. Then you RGB tone, so you can adjust the RGB levels in here. Make it sepia. I don't know how to say that word. So you can change that, which is pretty cool. So maybe you have some photographs, you want to add like a weathered, old-timey look to it. You can change that. Pretty interesting. There we go, nice weathered Western photo. Do vintage style. It's another old-time photo filter. So you can change the colors here. So shadows are turning purple, which makes sense because he's used to have to do all these chemical things for photographs versus printing from a computer. So you can change how that looks. You can change how the filter is. Oh, screen. So that's pretty neat. So just a lot of different options to change the overall color of your artwork or photograph. There's a lot of stuff in here. Like I said, impossible for me to go over these in a video that would be less than an hour, let alone less than 20 minutes. So I definitely recommend checking them out and kind of playing with them to see how you can apply them to your artwork. They probably work best for photographs, but in my personal opinion, if you're an illustrator, I would definitely go in and look into the brightness, auto balance, basic adjustments, things that you can use for your artwork to just adjust things for either printing or final touches for your work. Like I said, I do use these types of filters a lot, not just for editing photos, but for my actual color work. And if you are an artist, if you are not sure about, let's say, the design of a character or an environment, you can go in and start changing the hue and kind of get ideas. I've actually started doing that. When I'm stuck, I go and play with the artistic filters in here, and I just kind of like throw it in the illustration. I'm like, well, will this give me any ideas? And sometimes, well, recently, it actually has helped with, yes, these colors that I experimented with in this filter actually gave me an idea of where to take the direction of this illustration. So this fish looks very sick. He looks like a Halloween fish, but it can give you ideas and help jumpstart the creativity aspect of your brain. All right, so that's it for this video for the black and white and colors. We will be going over the contours next and the deformations. I don't know why I was going to say deformations, but deformations. And depending on how that goes, I might just loop all of these forward and together. I want to experiment with them a little bit more just to make sure they're kind of similar in terms of what they do. Yeah, so that's it for this video. If there's anything else in here that you would like me to make a more in-depth video on, let me know in the comments below. This will probably be coming after I do a brief introduction to all the filter categories. That way, it's kind of like an extra add-on at the end of this series. All right, thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you can go try these out. They are very fun and I enjoyed them. Make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on the next GMIC Krita tutorial. And as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.